third song on the Digital Trends Live soundtrack. It's performing for us, so you too can have the sounds of DT Live at home. Hello, everyone. This is Digital Trends Live. This is our daily broadcast here from Digital Trends, where we talk about the trending tech topics of the day. We've got interviews, we've got headlines, we've got breaking news, and we're doing it live, as I said, once again, live on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch, taking your comments, your questions, whatever you want to talk about. It is Friday, and let's see what's on the docket today. So coming up on today's show, we're going to be talking to Holly Fields. She is a voice actor who you have probably heard in some way, shape, or form in one of her many projects, but including Star Wars: The Old Republic. Like, she works in video games, animation, all kinds of things, and a storied history in Hollywood in the 80s and 90s. I think we're going to get some stories about that too. So Holly Fields hopping here on the show. We've got Michael Reitblat, CEO of Forder, who's going to hop on to talk about holiday e-commerce fraud. Not an uplifting topic, something we do need to pay attention to. What he's going to do is walk through what's happened and how we can protect ourselves. I mean, it's something I think we all need to be concerned with. And then later on, we're going to head to our New York studio with our editor-in-chief, Jeremy Kaplan, to talk to Scott Cohen, the National Training Manager at Samsung. We have the National Training Manager at Samsung who's going to be talking about, you know what? I don't even know everything he's going to be covering, actually. I think he's going to be talking about televisions. He's going to be discussing maybe a little bit of CES. We'll see what Jeremy can get him to say. But Scott Cohen is going to be live there in New York. I'm Greg Nibbler here in our Portland studio with Nicole Rainey. Hello, Nicole.
Morning.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
Excellent.
Friday.
It is Friday. It's Friday.
It's cliche to say, but I'm glad it's Friday.
But seriously, yeah, it's Friday.
Long week.
It has been, and we have a lot of news to get to, actually.
Yeah, it seems like there's a bunch of headlines.
There is. There's a bunch of headlines, and there's some breaking news I'm going to cover here in a minute, but let's talk about our first story here before we go to Read 'em and Weep. Has to do with yesterday and with Virgin Galactic in the ever-present space wars between Elon Musk, Richard Branson, and Jeff Bezos. Virgin Galactic just got one up first. So they launched their Spaceship 2, which they've been testing for months. It flew to an altitude of 271,000 feet, which technically gets it into space. And they had two commercial pilots who were on this flight, getting ready, eventually to have their where you could pay to go up into space, have commercial passengers. But these two, made it up there, and they were up for, I think, only about a minute is what it was. They traveled for about 2.9 times the speed of sound. But because they did, actually the two pilots get a certification from NASA.
Oh, man.
Which is pretty cool.
I want to sign up for that. Can you sign up for that yet?
I think you have to do, I don't know, pilot stuff. But yeah, sure. Let's sign up for that. That's technical terms.
I don't have that in my resume yet.
I'm sure you can figure it out. I mean, you've played video games before, I'm sure. So
yeah,
it's the same thing. Exactly. So eventually, though, you'll be able to take one of these flights for $250,000 for a 90-minute flight. So, chump change. And 600 people, though, have bought tickets already.
Ooh.
For down deposits.
Do we know what the timeline is for this yet?
There's no specific timeline.
Space Wars is pretty intense. I want to know when it's going to come to a head.
Well, so right now, with the timeline as far as each of the competitors, so Richard Branson for Virgin Galactic said that he's probably going to go up within the next few months.
Okay.
So as part of the tests. But we don't know exactly when that's going to launch. However, SpaceX is claiming they're going to send people up, not passengers necessarily, but pilots, I believe, mid-next year. We've actually got a whole rundown of it at Digital Trends of the different competing organizations. Blue Origin, I'm not sure where they're at in the race right now. Kind of falling a little behind, I think.
I like the idea that Richard Branson and Elon Musk have to shoot off the rockets at the same time. They're both sitting there they're like, no, I want to be first. So it's just actually who gets to the threshold first.
There really needs to be something. I think maybe
it would be a great TV show.
A wrestling match with the three of them. I think that would be great. I don't know who I would pick in that. I think I would put Space Celebrity Deathmatch. Yeah. I just heard from the back. Yeah, Celebrity Deathmatch with them. That's true. I think if it was one-on-one, I would go with Jeff Bezos. He's the wild card.
Really?
Yeah, there's something about him that says he's going to do whatever it takes to
I was going to say Richard Branson,
yeah.
but I'm gonna have to agree with you. Jeff Bezos would definitely be the wild card.
Yeah.
And sorry, Elon, but I'm not betting on
No, Elon. I think a lot of people would bet on Elon, but the money's on Jeff Bezos. That's where it is. So, all right.
I'm gonna go Richard then.
Okay, going Richard. All right. Well, we'll have to see if we can get them in a wrestling ring. Nonetheless, Virgin Galactic going up there, so you can read all about that at Digital Trends. We've got some more tech headlines to cover today, but first, let's do our Read 'em and Weep segment, which we cover every day here at Digital Trends Live, where we take a look at the comments that have come through over the last 24 hours or so, and we always see these for the first time live with you, just to prove that we do read the comments. Let's go ahead and go to our first one here. We've got Terry Bowman regarding this robot can ice skate and trek through snow. I have seen this robot. It is really creepy looking. Looks like a centipede kind of, but can it spot weld and ask if you want fries with that drink? Can it spot weld? Okay. Sorry, now I'm understanding. It takes a second to interpret Facebook. So, can it spot weld and ask if you want fries with that drink? I don't.
I'm gonna go no to the first one, but possibly to the second one.
I would think you'd be able to do that.
Yeah.
I mean, if it can travel on snow and ice skate.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that would be the easiest thing. So whether or not it can deliver those fries, we're not sure yet.
Yeah. So, Terry, I mean, the verdict's out, but hopefully an update will allow it to do that. All right, let's take a look at our next Read 'em and Weep comment today. And we've got Derek Daniel Durbin. I wonder if that's how he presents himself. You have to say like all three names.
Derek Daniel
Hello,
Durbin.
I am Derek Daniel Durbin.
DDD.
Derek Daniel Durbin. Nope, Derek Daniel Durbin, not
Derek
DDD.
Daniel Durbin.
Triple D.
I don't think I could say that 5 times.
Amazon Echo sub review. I was getting ready to buy it, but I wanted to watch a quick video first. Doesn't connect to the TV. What's the point then? You dropped the ball, Amazon. Yeah. That's a fairly good point. He's talking about the subwoofer that Amazon came up with. That's interesting. I didn't realize it wouldn't connect to the TV because as an Amazon Echo hub, wouldn't it? I don't know. I guess I have to watch the review. This is me trying to walk through that at the same time live on television. Yeah, I can kind of see that. I mean, if you're going to spend that money, I'd want it to connect to the television.
Minus 10 points in the celebrity space wrestling match.
Oh,
Jeff.
that's true. Yep.
Drop the ball.
Keeping track, Jeff. I know they're all watching.
I think I'm voting for Richard.
I know you're watching. Yeah, it's not good for me, Jeff. All right, well, Triple D, thank you for that comment. Let's go ahead and take a look at our next one as we go through Read 'em and Weep. Rusty at Rustyism. Okay, there's so many things I want to say there. Regarding at Digital Trends, this is a robot. Okay, this is a very popular article to comment on. Not I. Guess it helps to live in southern Arizona. Don't worry about these problems. That is true.
Congratulations.
Yeah, if you've lived anywhere where there's snow, then you would probably change your mind. I haven't lived anywhere where it necessitates a snowplow, but I can only imagine.
Yeah, well, good for you, Rusty.
Yeah.
There's not much snow in southern Arizona.
At Rustyism. This one, if we're getting this many comments on here, I feel like we're not very far away from getting a flat Earth comment at some point. So that's usually how it goes. All right, let's take a look at our next one. We've got a couple more here. I'm seeing some comments that say, how does Virgin make money nowadays? I'm not sure. Oh, because they're big in publishing in those mega stores. That's a comment that came through on YouTube. I'm not sure. We'll see what we can do. Dragon Ball Crypto. All right. That's a solid name. Regarding cryptocurrency investor Ian Bellina sees a comeback in 2019. So we had him on, Ian, a couple of days ago here on Digital Trends Live. You can check out that video on our YouTube channel or on digitaltrends.com. Thanks again, Ian. I am bullish for next year, too. Do you invest in cryptocurrency, Nicole?
I do not.
I do not either.
I do not.
I kind of wish I had.
Yeah, me too.
Or I kind of wish I did.
I'm assuming Dragon Ball Crypto does.
Dragon Ball Crypto. Otherwise, that name is, just unfortunate.
So if I do invest in cryptocurrency, do I have to change my name then to let everybody know? Like I'll be like Nicole Crypto Rainey.
Nicole Ripto?
Nicole Ripto?
Nicrypto.
Nicrypto. There you go.
There it is.
It took us a moment. We got it.
We figured it out. We worked our way through it. It's Friday. Yeah, I think that's what you would have to do. So you can take a look at that. A couple more comments here that are happening live on Facebook. I just wanted to cover one of these. Sam Slaughter chiming in saying Elon Musk would win because he's going to pull off his skin and be a lizard person. Talking about the battle between Elon, Jeff Bezos, and Richard Branson, that one of them is going to come out on top. All right, Randy Ward at Draw007 regarding digital trends, an iPhone accessory that will swipe right for all your dating apps. This is, I should have snagged the video for this. Seriously, it's a thing you plug in on your phone, so it's like a dongle you plug in at the base, and then it's just a finger that swirls around, so it just swipes right.
Wow.
Very industrial.
That's a dating game changer.
Oh, there we did have the video. Thank you. Thank you. The Tinder Finger. So if you really want to just be a lazy creep, you can just do that. I mean,
wow, this is the first time I've seen this.
I don't know what that says. Swipe right, swipe right. Swiping right on everyone.
I don't like that.
So imagine dating someone that's so lazy they can't even use their own thumb to swipe. I didn't even read the comment, but I agree 100%, Randy.
I agree.
Like,
no, I don't want to imagine, actually. I really don't.
I wonder how many they've sold of the Tinder swipe. Like, how did we match? What did you like about my profile? I don't know, Tinder swipe did it. I like everybody.
I like everybody. Thanks to a dongle.
Yeah, we got matched up from a dongle. Oh, wow. All right, let's get to some breaking news here. So this did just come out right before we went live with this show. Again, 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, and it's a Facebook announcement that there has been yet another data breach with Facebook. And this one happened back in September, but they're just telling us now. So here's what happened. The basic info as far as we've gotten so far. A Facebook data breach exposed possibly 6.8 million users' photos to third-party apps.
Wow.
And these are photos that could have been set to private photos that were uploaded that third-party apps may have snagged.
Interesting.
To be using, or for whatever they want to do.
Wow.
Facebook said as a result of this bug, the company believes the photos could have been accessed by 1,500 apps built by 876 developers.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm learning about this live on air right now, so
Yep.
I have no idea what to say.
Really just came
other than
out.
I really just want to go check my Facebook.
You want to find out right now,
Delete
yeah.
all of the photos.
Delete everything,
That's what you do, right? Like that's how it works.
Problem is, it's a little too late.
Oh yeah.
For those ones. So they've fixed the bug, but it did expose the data for, I believe, a couple of weeks in September.
Were they letting us know whether or not we were one of the accounts?
Well, here's what they've said so far. We're sorry this happened, was the statement from one of the engineering director at Facebook, wrote in a blog post. So they were asked why they hadn't informed anyone of this, and I'm taking a look here. They said, we have been investigating the issue since it was discovered to try to understand its impact so that we can ensure we are contacting the right developers and people affected by the bug. It then took us some time to build a meaningful way to notify people and get translations done. That is... I'm calling that's BS.
Yeah.
All right. It took us some time to build
understand.
to build a meaningful way to notify people
and
get translations done. I'm sure, yeah, it took weeks and weeks to get the translations worked out. That says they weren't sure if it was still happening or not, is what my guess, and that's me just guessing on that. But the actual news is that, yes, this happened for a 12-day period in September. And now supposedly they're going to be notifying people who did have some of their photos accessed. And there's no word on what ones that were accessed, what happened with those photos yet.
Or how long the translations are going to take.
How long the translations, yeah. It could take years, to get this translated. So if only, it's so hard right now with the internet to get things translated. So, yeah, this is just yet another thing with Facebook. So there we go.
Yay.
Good thing we are going to be talking to Michael Reitblat here in just a little bit, the CEO of Forder, about just that, about security. Well, maybe not just that, but we might bring that up, talking about security and keeping your data secure over the holidays. So that's coming up here in a bit on Digital Trends Live. Let's go to something else. Let's go to another story here. This is going to be something that's coming in 2019. We're seeing a lot of tech now, especially with CES coming up, that we're going to be seeing in 2019. And this one is something that you may be able to utilize, at least if you're in the LA area, and it's Postmates. Postmates now has a delivery robot that's going to begin service in 2019.
A cute delivery robot. There's a big difference between a delivery robot and a cute delivery robot.
This one,
with eyeballs.
It does have eyeballs, and the eyeballs apparently move on it and will let you know which way it's going to go. So the way it's going to happen is this thing weighs up to 50 pounds. So just looking at our article here, Digital Trends, it can carry items weighing up to 50 pounds, operates with a battery that gives it a range of 30 miles, which should be enough for around 12 deliveries a day. Now, it's going to be in LA. It's going to operate autonomously. And one of the things that they're emphasizing is that it won't take away jobs from current Postmates employees. So what it's going to do is they say it's going to accent and allow them to deliver more items, or maybe help out for places like, say the parking lot's really packed. They can use this robot to go pick it up, and then it'll go down, a couple of blocks.
Okay, so I have so many questions.
Yes.
So first of all, y'all were talking on DT Live the other day that people were stealing Nest doorbells.
Yes.
We have a lot of technology that brings things to us, guards the front of our homes.
Yep.
But people steal it.
Yeah.
So what I'm curious about is like, what's the security for a robot like this? If you have just an adorable, cute robot bringing all of your stuff to you, what's to stop anybody from just picking up the robot
Like,
and taking it?
Sweet. I mean, I suppose it'll probably have some kind of tracking on it. Yeah, you're right.
That makes sense, but it's like, it's saying that there's going to be like a touch screen where you enter in a security code, so you're the only person who can open it. But if somebody can just take the whole robot, which is a weird phrase I never thought it would come out of my mouth.
Right. I mean, it is. I mean, and I'm taking a look here. Keelan just said, I give that robot 12 hours to live before it's destroyed. I mean, it's true. Oh, yeah, referencing the robot that hitchhiked across the country. I forgot about that. You remember that story?
No.
There was a robot that they wanted it to set it up to hitchhike across the country. So basically one person would have it, and then they'd drive to wherever they were going and then set it down, and somebody else would pick it up and keep it going. And I think it made it like halfway before it was found destroyed on the side of the road because somebody just destroyed it. So yeah, we'll see.
We've all seen those videos too of like people picking up the electric scooters that have been tested in some cities and just throwing them off of bridges. So what's going to stop the poor little adorable Postmates robot from taking a tumble?
Yeah. I don't know where their security is on that part. Looking on Twitch here, Sorting Us just said a good prank would be to make a remote-controlled replacement, kidnap the original, then deliver bad funny thing with the duplicate.
Wow. I like how we immediately just went to all the worst things that could happen rather than, oh, how convenient is this going to be?
Oh, how neat.
My late-night chips are going to come even faster and in a much more adorable package.
Well, the robot is going to be called Serve, and so it's starting off in L.A., and sometime in 2019, and then it'll be rolling out to more cities over the next 12 months. So I imagine it's going to end up in a lot of places. You'll see these robots. But yeah, you're right. Somebody's just going to kick it over.
I mean, it's a cute robot. Why don't I mean, I kind of want to just take it home.
Somebody's going to want to kick it. All right.
Somebody's going to want to kick it.
Let's go to this next story. This is one that I had to share because it's just hilarious. And it's a story from Russia. So the organizers of this Proyektoria, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that, technology forum, which is held each year for the future intellectual leaders of Russia, where they show off future robotics and different kinds of technology, Russian-made, I'm assuming, and Russian state television covered this, and in particular, a very high-tech robot that was debuted at this event. And they went ahead and brought this robot on, it's a humanoid kind of robot, onto the show for an interview. Now, tell me if you can see anything strange about this robot as we're taking a look at it.
Let's see. He's moving already a little too smooth.
Yes. Instantly waving and shaking hands and doing little dances as you continue to watch. This was live on Russian news.
Yeah, look at that. Look at the back of
Boris
that neck.
the robot. And Boris was apparently...
Oh, yeah, he's talking like a human.
This was enough to where he faked out both the conference and this news organization. Oh, it is a person in there, which is very, very clear to see.
Yeah,
But this guy conducted the interview thinking that it was a real robot.
Oh, wow.
Broadcast on the news.
So, back to Postmates, are these actually, like, what robots can I trust now? Like, which ones are going to be human to trust as robots?
Get out of there, human. I know you're inside of that. Yeah, this... I can't stop laughing about this thing. It was touted as the country's most modern robot. And during the conversation, it told the audience, I love mathematics well, but I also want to learn to draw. And so the host of the show, I guess, had no idea. And that was what happened in Russia.
So what was the point behind it? Was it just a really elaborate prank, or were they selling us robots?
I don't know the point yet. Yeah, I'm
Other than
not
just
sure.
It was really funny.
Well, I take that back. Actually, I did see part of it was that they were basically trying to promote their costumes.
Gotcha.
I'm not entirely sure. There's a lot of well, speaking of translation, this is why we're not going to get the Facebook announcement yet. So it's a lot of translated Russian stories.
Gotcha.
But that is what's out there right now. It is going viral.
Well, if you read Russian, let us know what the point was behind this.
Send us in. Let us know.
I'm hoping the point was just because it was hilarious.
Try and fool us with your Russian robots. All right, let's go ahead and do this. Nicole, I want to say thank you so much for hopping on here today.
Thanks for having me.
Talk about the news. We're out of time because we have our guest who's going to be hopping on here now, I believe, actually. So let's go to our guest who's joining us via Zoom. She is a legendary, really, in my mind, voice actor who has been participated in so many projects that you have probably heard, video games, movies, a lot of stories that we're going to get to. We're joined now by Holly Fields. Hello, Holly.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for hopping on the show with us today.
Thank you for having me.
I have so many questions just on the voice acting side and everything that you've done, and I'm sure so many people have heard your voice and have questions too. And I will say that we're broadcasting live, so if anybody does have questions for you, please drop those in there. But let's just start. Your career is really impressive. You have been a part of movies and entertainment for so long, and you kind of grew up in Hollywood in the 80s and 90s, right?
I did, yes. With River Phoenix, Corey Haim, all those, Matthew Broderick, yeah. I had a really good time back then. I grew up with all like Brad Pitt before he was famous, and Leonardo DiCaprio and Jennifer Aniston, and
wow.
Yeah.
What was that like? I mean, what kind of stories do you have from that? I mean, being a part of that kind of epicenter at that time.
I have so many stories. Well, we used to go to Alfie Soda Pop parties. All the celebrity kid actors would go, and that would be like our kind of high school party, because a lot of us didn't go to high school. So we'd meet up and we'd all just drink soda pop and dance.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm taking a look at some pictures right now that are hopping up there.
Yes.
Is that you?
Yeah, that's me.
What is that on the set of?
That's from Monsters Today.
That's right. The second version of Monsters that came out.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of stories. I did see something about Corey Haim as well.
Yeah, I was engaged to Corey Haim back in the 90s, and we were really good friends. And now I'm actually doing a script with his mom. We're producing a movie that he wrote, and we're pitching it right now.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so he was amazing, great guy.
Yeah, that's wow. I mean, what an interesting time to be a part of, for you. I mean, for anybody just to know something like that at that time. I mean, those are just legendary people, and obviously you are too. So thank you for sharing some of that. I'm sure you can write a book at some point, I would imagine.
Oh my gosh, yeah. My aunt actually wrote a bestseller. Kind of the same situation. She was married to Howard Hawks, who directed Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, His Girl Friday, Rio Bravo, and wrote a bestseller, and everyone's telling me to write a book about what happened.
Yeah, so. I think you should. I think you have the stories that I'm sure you can't tell on here.
Oh, there's so many stories. Yeah.
Well, let's go on. Is that you with MacGyver right there?
Yeah, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's it. That is crazy. Were you on MacGyver?
I was. That was the first job I did when I got to LA. I got the show MacGyver.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's right there alone. I mean, that would be enough for most people to just be like, okay, that's it. I can claim I was on MacGyver for the rest of my life. I mean, that was awesome.
Yeah, the original MacGyver.
The original MacGyver, the true MacGyver.
The true.
Well, how did you go from acting into getting into voice acting and that side of things?
Well, I was born in Sacramento, and we moved to Texas, and Molly Ringwald's dad asked my mom to get me into acting because I really wanted to pursue it.
Wait, Molly Ringwald's dad?
Yeah. Yes, because Molly Ringwald is from Sacramento, and so we went to school together. And she's older, so she and my sister were friends. Wow. So my parents said, okay, I begged them, and they let me do it. And I got an agent in Dallas and started into voiceover. And I got really lucky. I had done like 200 voiceover jobs by the time I was 18, and came out to LA. And then one day, I was with an agency, and they said, you sound like Cameron Diaz. Do you want to audition for this Shrek job? They're looking for a voice double for Cameron Diaz. And next thing I know, I was revoicing everything for Cameron Diaz and working on Shrek. And then I got Star Wars: The Old Republic. I didn't know it was Star Wars: The Old Republic, because they just told us we were auditioning for The Old Republic. And
but you didn't know it was for a Star Wars video game.
Oh, it was this big secret. So I got home, and my agent called and said, "You got it. And by the way, it's Star Wars." So excited because I'm the biggest Star Wars fan. And yeah, that was back in 2010. And we've been working on it ever since.
What was that moment like, knowing that you were going to be part of, this Star Wars franchise?
I screamed so loud that my neighbors called and they said, "Are you okay?" I was so excited. I'm still excited. It's the best job ever.
No, I mean, yeah, that's amazing. I mean, to be a part of anything Star Wars. Now, when you go into doing a voiceover for that, how does that work? Do they give you just a whole big page of lines and you just read it line by line, or do you read do you improvise? Like, how does that work?
No. It's really secretive. They give you the script when you get there, and it's like a book. Okay. Very stressful because you have all these very high up men in the room that are like very talented men that are producing and directing you. And then you have people listening on the phone as well. And it's Steven Spielberg, huge people. Yeah. You're working for like the best of the best. And it's Disney and George Lucas. And so they give you your lines because it's so secretive. And then you just go, you get three takes. Sometimes they'll give you more. And then you're there for hours. And then that's it. And you go home. You have no idea what the story is because it's so secretive. They have you sign a contract where you can't talk about it. And I can now because it's come out. But yeah, for a year and a half, I couldn't talk about it and tell people I was working on it.
Wow. That's going to be hard to be like, "Oh, yeah, I'm going to work. What do you do?" I can't tell you.
I know. I want to tell people. I mean, you're working on Star Wars. You want to tell people. Yeah. So we finally got to talk about it at Comic-Con. And that was so exciting. So the first time I could talk about it was Comic-Con. Wow. To the whole, audience of like 5,000. So. Well,
like how many different video games have you worked on?
I don't even know. I worked on God of War.
What were you in God of War?
Aphrodite's. That's the thing is, you literally.
So you don't even, I
know. I mean, I know for most of them, but a lot of times they bring you in, and you're given the part. You don't even audition. You just go in and you're given a script. You don't even have the title of your name or anything, and you read, and then you go home, and then you get paid. And I don't play video games because I'm so bad at video games. I play Pac-Man. So when I play Star Wars Old Republic, I can't even get to where my character is. So
That's what I was going to ask. Yeah. So you voice all these, but then you don't get to actually play your character.
No, I can like Google like Nadia Gurel, and then I get to hear cause the fans put up different clips. So it's pretty cool to listen to what the fans put up. And the fans are amazing.
That's what I was going to ask. Like being a part of, especially with the Star Wars franchise, what is it like going to event? Do you go to events? You said Comic-Con. Like what kind of things do you have that you go to for that?
I've spoken at Comic-Con twice. They'll have us come to events sometimes. I really want to go to Star Wars Land, I want to go to the opening of Star Wars Land at Disney.
Yeah, we were just talking about that earlier this week. That you probably have an in to get into there. I'm gonna guess more than we would.
I hope so. Oh my gosh, I hope so. I was actually the last time I was recording, the director and I were talking about that. So I hope to God, because I'm just such a Star Wars fan that I will sneak in if I have to.
Okay, what is your favorite Star Wars movie ever?
The first one.
The first one. It's still the first one. Yeah. A New Hope.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
But I love them all, but the ones in the middle not so much. But the last one's amazing, and then the first ones are my favorite. How about you?
Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Empire. Yeah. I've got to go with Empire.
They're all great.
Let me ask you this. So, do people ever recognize you when you're out with your speaking?
Yes. When I was doing a lot, I don't really do on camera anymore, but when I was doing on camera, it was weird. They'd always say, "Didn't I go to high school with you?" or "Don't I know you?" and it was that's the normal. But it's rare that they come up and they actually know my name. They'll know the characters I played. Yeah. So, like when I was actually in the bathroom one time talking, and someone recognized my voice from MacGyver. So
from MacGyver of all things.
Yeah, MacGyver when I was like 12. Yeah, actually I got recognized a lot from Quantum Leap, and then the OC. Oh my gosh! After doing the OC, every time I would go to the mall, kids would come up to me and they would be all excited, and the OC was probably the one I got recognized the most from.
Wow. That's amazing. Well, I mean, I want to say thank you too for hopping on our show. Just taking some time. Can you tell us what you're working on now?
Yes, right now we're working on the Old Republic still again, and I'm producing a reality show about DNA because 25,000 people are switched at birth a year nowadays with our technology. So we're producing a show about that.
Wow.
And it's actually fascinating. And I'm producing the movie with Corey's mom about.
Real quick, how many people are per year? 25,000, is that what you said?
Nowadays.
Wow.
So back in the 60s and 70s and 50s, a lot more than that. So
that's
people
crazy.
are discovering now that they were switched at birth and they didn't even realize it. So it's fascinating.
That's crazy to think about that that's still happening. So you've got a documentary about that, and then the Corey Haim movie that you said that you're working on.
Right. Yeah, I'm producing and then I'm also acting. Yeah. Yes. Oh, and I'm working for, well, Cameron Diaz kind of left the business, but I was working on her voice forever. But hopefully Shrek's coming back. So we're kind of in the talks right now about that. So we'll see.
Nice. Well, Holly, what's the best way for people to follow you and just see everything that's going on in your life?
Maybe Twitter or Instagram.
Okay.
Holly1 on Instagram, and follow me. I post some fun photos. I sing also sometimes with Toto and Chicago and Spencer Davis.
How do you just throw that in there? I mean, that's you have your life. Yeah, I will definitely be following you after this. I mean,
yeah, I do a lot of animal rescue. So they do animal rescue as well. So we do a lot of events. We're doing one in February for animal rescue. So Toto and a lot of amazing guys are going to get up and sing, and I get to sing with them.
Wow. Well, that's a whole interview in its own right. But Holly, thank you so much for hopping on today, to talk to us about this, and we'll definitely follow you and keep us abreast of everything that's going on.
Thank you so much for having me. Have a great day.
Thanks, Holly.
Bye, guys.
All right. And thanks, everybody, for tuning in to Digital Trends Live. This is what I'm talking about. We get to have fun interviews, learn new things, and what an amazing career that Holly has. And coming up, we're still going to be heading to our New York studio in a little bit to talk to Scott Cohen, National Training Manager of Samsung, who's going to be in studio with our editor-in-chief, Jeremy Kaplan. That's in a little bit, but first, we're going to be talking to Michael Reitblat, who is the CEO of Forder. And Forder is one of the agencies that can help us learn more about how we secure ourselves, especially in this upcoming holiday season. So he's going to discuss that and a lot more, all coming up here in a minute with more Digital Trends Live. Welcome back to Digital Trends Live. And now this is something that we're going to have fun with here. We're going to talk about, and it has to do with how we secure ourselves with e-commerce coming up for this holiday season, because there's so much news that goes on about this. I mean, we just had this story about Facebook that I think there's a lot we can learn from our next guest. And that is Michael Reitblat, the CEO of Forder. Hello, Michael.
Hello, how are you?
Doing well. Thank you so much for hopping on the show with us today. Let's walk through this. Maybe we'll talk about what does Forder do first.
So Forder is a fraud prevention platform that works with multiple retailers across any segments and makes sure they're protected against usage of stolen credit cards, stolen identities, or any type of misbehavior that comes from just the inability to see the consumer.
Okay, so it comes from the commercial side.
Yes.
From the retailers. Okay, so how did you get into this business? How did you start in this?
So I've been in the, let's call it bad guy detection space for almost 20 years.
Is that the official term, bad guy detection space?
It's just too broad, right? I started in the Israeli military cyber command. So different types of bad guys, right? Terrorists and money movements to fund a lot of other activities. Then did a couple of startups in the cybersecurity space. So that's prevention of extraction of information, this kind of an denial of service. And in the last probably 10 years, maybe a little more, I'm in the payment fraud prevention space, first in a company called Fraud Sciences that was acquired by PayPal, then mobile payments, and now Forder in the last 6 years.
Yeah, it sounds like you've got some experience. Sounds like you know what you're doing. Well, let's talk about security. So over this last year, I was looking at some of the statistics that you had sent over, and just something about a third of consumers have had their data breached. Is that right?
So probably 100% of consumers have their data breached, but 34% of consumers have experienced their data being used. And that's an alarmingly high number.
Yeah.
We also consider that a lot of people have their data misused and they just don't know about it.
And that's what I think probably worries a lot of people is like, is my stuff out there being used? You know, is somebody accessing it? And it's, over the last couple of months, we've seen so many different data breaches and issues associated with that. I mean, at a certain point, it feels hopeless. Like there's nothing I can do. They're just going to get all of my data no matter what I do. But you have some steps that we can take to help prevent that.
So I think the first thing we need to realize is it doesn't matter who you give your data to, the likelihood of them being breached is never been higher in history.
So depressing.
I'll try to get there.
No, I mean, it's honest. No, it's true. I mean, you're absolutely right.
I think everyone who's saying, oh, I will only work with big companies because they're more reliable than small companies, it's just misleading yourself. Actually, big companies are bigger targets. Right, we've seen in the last, year, we had Equifax, there was a massive breach. We had Starwood, so now Marriott, massive breach. And that's the ones that get to the news, right? Before that, we had so many other big companies, Target and Chase and so on.
Yeah, and they've all had this issue.
At the same time, every day, hundreds of breaches happen. They're just too small to interest the media, right? Your high school alumni forum is probably being breached once a day. Now, there's probably not a lot of information there.
Yeah.
But what I do want to drive there is people, and we all do that, use the same password and probably the same username or email address for almost everything they register into. So if you use the same combination of email and password for your alumni high school, that probably, high school alumni website, right, that probably doesn't encrypt them or store them properly because who cares about what's written there. But if you reuse the same username and password in your bank account or the accounts for, your Xbox account or where else you do digitally, it means that the moment the fraudster gets access to the high school alumni website, they have access to everything you own.
So changing that password is imperative. And we've talked about that before here on the show. Like not coming up with a unique password for everything is setting yourself up for failure. So,
yes.
So that's one step. What's a couple other steps that people can take to help make sure that their data is secure?
So the second one is just limiting the amount of data you give out, right? There's a lot of websites that just ask you for way too much information. And in my personal view, right, if you ask me too much, I just won't work with you, right? You don't need to know that much about me for the type of transactions that we're doing here. So people should be mindful of who they're giving their data to and how much of it, right? You would have companies that will only ask you for your last 4 of your social, and then other companies that will only ask you for the first 3 of your social. And then if I get access to a couple of websites, I'll just collect all of your social, right? There's just no reason of having your social out there in the first place because, right, you can't change it. Second thing is make sure when you browse that the websites are actually properly encrypted, right? You would see a green lock on your browser that will mean the SSO certificate is proper. And it doesn't guarantee anything, but it shows you to the actual seriousness and reliability that you're working. There's a very common fraud in the recent probably 2 or 3 years that's only increasing, which is a website in the middle. So let's say you want to order food online. You see a commercial on Facebook, you click on it, you go to a website, it looks legitimate, it offers you the same things you would usually find, maybe at a better price or a better promotion. You type in, you complete an order there. This website will then place another order, let's say on Grubhub, that will actually ship you exactly the product you order. What you don't realize is the website in the middle just collected all of your information. They have your credit card that you gave them and so on. And now they can use them elsewhere.
Wow. So that is important. So that to sum up, I think the things you said, use different passwords.
Yep.
Pay attention to that. Pay attention to how much information you're giving out. Like, you don't need to give out as much information as some places are asking. And then also take a look at your website that you're going to and make sure that it's secure.
Yes.
I think those are 3 really good ideas and really good things that people can follow at home. And for you, Michael, and I want to say thank you again too for hopping on the show. Like, how can people follow Forder and take advantage of your services? What's the best way for people to keep track of Forder?
So just to describe, right, we are kind of make sure that people understand what we actually do. We work with retailers, make sure people don't commit fraud onto them.
Yeah.
Right. Retailers, people sometimes forget about this, but when a transaction happens online, the liability for fraud is on the retailer. It's not on the bank or not on the consumer. Right? The consumer calls the bank, their card gets reissued, they get their money back. The retailer, in just US retailers, lose a little over $7 billion a year for fraud. And more than that, 7 billion.
That's a lot.
And more than that, and that's a worse thing, is there's more than $20 billion of good transactions that never happen because the retailers have to be more conservative, right? If you try to buy something online and then you see, oh, we don't ship to this area, we don't ship to hotel rooms, we don't use international cards, we will call you to verify this, your transaction was declined, and so on. It actually causes so much inconvenience for consumers. And this is a problem that we're trying to solve, right?
And that's and Forder tries to solve that problem.
Yep.
Well, what's the best website for everyone to go to?
So simple one, right? It's Forder.com.
Forder.com.
Forder.com, or follow us on Twitter at ForderFraudFree.
Fantastic. Well, Michael, thank you for hopping on. Those are some great advice that we have for our viewers. And thanks, Michael.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. Forder.com. There we go. All right, we're going to do this. We're going to go to a quick break right now here on Digital Trends Live, and then we're going to hop back and we're going to end up going over to our New York studio with our editor-in-chief, Jeremy Kaplan, who's going to be live with Scott Cohen, who is the national training manager for Samsung. So take a quick break, right back here in just a second with more Digital Trends Live. Back here with Digital Trends Live. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Greg Nibbler. Just kind of recapping a little bit of what we talked about so far today. Looking at the headline news, again, Facebook did have a breach of their photos. So up to 6.8 million people may have had their photos accessed by third-party apps. And we talked about that at the beginning of the show. It's breaking news. So definitely pay attention to that. We'll have some articles up at Digital Trends letting you know how to find out if your photos may have been accessed. And then, a little bit further on in the show, we talked to Michael Reitblat, who we just had on the show, discussing data breaches and discussing how to keep your data secure. Some really good advice that he gave us. And talking to Holly Fields, who every single little tidbit she put in there was like an amazing story in its own right. So every day here at Digital Trends Live, we talk to different people. We bring you the tech headlines. We discuss different stories. And we try to keep you up to date on everything, all while broadcasting live on Facebook, Periscope, Twitch, and YouTube. So here, let's do this. What we can do, since we are live, we can take comments or questions. If you have any, we'll absolutely take a look there and see what you have to say and go through those. And since we are also broadcasting every day, just kind of a recap of over the week, we had Marshawn Lynch in yesterday. We had some other great guests, and you can check out the recaps of all of those. You can check out clips. You can check out videos, everything at digitaltrends.com and on all of our social media channels. All right, we are going to head to our New York studio right now because, yes, Digital Trends has our studio here in Portland, but our New York studio is where we're going to be joining our editor-in-chief, Jeremy Kaplan, who is standing by right now with Scott Cohen, the National Training Manager of Samsung. Hello, New York.
Greg, thank you very much for the introduction. A lovely introduction it was. And greetings to you, viewers, people at large watching us. I am here with Scott Cohen, a senior manager at Samsung, who does a lot of very weird and different things. But one thing that's significant about him is the man knows more than anyone alive about Samsung products. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks for having me. Super excited to be here.
Is that fair? More than anyone else alive?
What's that?
I'm just hyping your knowledge.
Oh, yeah, I appreciate the hype, but you're somewhat accurate.
Yeah. I tried. Yeah. And happy holidays to you. We're almost to the holiday season. Have you done your shopping yet?
I have done my shopping, as I told you right before. If Samsung.com doesn't sell it, chances are you're not getting it.
So if you know Scott, you know what you're getting this holiday season.
Yeah.
Any recommendations for the world at large about Samsung things that are good for good gifts?
Such a great question. When it comes to holiday gift giving, there's a lot of directions you can go, but Samsung's always a safe base. It's a safe bet. It's a brand everyone recognizes. It's an innovative brand that people, want to own. And, for TVs, it's an exciting time because, TVs that were considered big screen just a few years ago, 50 and 55 inch, they make great gifts now because the prices really come down.
Yeah, it's really astonishing.
So it's super affordable. It's, the 50 and 55 inch have much smaller bezels, so they actually fit, in smaller spaces. So where you may have had a 40 or 46, you can now fit a 50 or 55. And Samsung still has aggressive holiday pricing going. So, really a good time. However, if you love this person a little bit more and you want to step up, Samsung QLED is really where it's at. We get asked, what's QLED? It's simply Samsung's flagship TV model line. Q stands for quantum dot. Quantum dot's a technology that allows our TVs to be even more accurate with color, produce brighter colors, and also be able to produce a panel that works just as good in a bright sun-drenched room as it does in your man cave or dark basement. So really versatile TV, which is great for any environment. And then with QLED, you're also getting a lot of cool things. So QLED this year has a new super simple sign-in feature. When you get a new TV, you want your Netflix, you want your Hulu, you want your Amazon, you want all these connected things. And the first thing you need to do is get your TV on your internet. And Samsung has now offered a way that the TV can pair up to your mobile device and then pull your home network information off your mobile device and share it to the TV. So getting your TV on the network is as easy as 1, 2, 3. We actually automatically program the Samsung remote to work with all your connected devices, whether it's cable box or satellite box, Blu-ray player, home theater. So really, once you plug it in, or whomever your loved one you buy a Samsung QLED TV for, you can be assured they'll get it hooked up without installation, get going really quick.
I've seen that feature, and it's actually pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
And as the person who does all the tech support for everyone that I buy anything for, I like the ease of use there.
Yeah, so ease of setup is really important. And then the other thing is, we're pushing to bigger and bigger TVs. As I said earlier, 50 and 55 were big, 65, 75 are starting to become standard. And it's a lot harder to hide these TVs in your room. So if it's not your man cave, but it's the room that you do family room watching TV as well as entertaining, Samsung has a nifty way of hiding the TV in plain sight with a really cool feature called ambient mode, which is on QLED. And, you know, we have a brick wall behind us, and had we set up ambient mode on this TV, the TV would actually replicate the brick pattern and make the TV look transparent on the wall. So, you know, even if you're putting a 65 or 75-inch big black rectangle in the room, you can make it blend with the decor so it doesn't really stand out.
I've seen that in action, and it's kind of mind-blowing. And also, like, it's just such a simple idea, but works so well, and it's a great concept.
Yeah, it's been a big hit. Everyone's talking about it. People are coming into retail asking about it, making sure the product that they're asking for has that feature. So you could be assured all of our QLED TVs do have ambient mode. So whether you have wallpaper with a pattern or a solid wall, there'll be a way to get it to blend with just about any, but not all backgrounds out there. So really cool. And then if you really want to take the next step...
Well, wait, hang on. Before we get there, though.
Yeah.
So those are good when you have, as you said, a large panel fitting on a wall, and you're kind of going, what's this big, large thing? I wanted to ask you about screen sizes. Because, so I've got I think a 55-inch television at home, which is a good size for my TV, for my wall. And if you go shopping for a TV this holiday season, you're going to see that there are these 65, 75, these giant TVs. I would call that giant, just relative to the one that I'm used to. But that's becoming the convention. That's becoming the norm, right? People are buying those. It's not just that you're making them and trying to pass them off on people. That's what people are demanding.
Yeah, the people are demanding it. In fact, you know, this year, Samsung actually had a 75-inch TV in every series we made. So 75-inch really for every price point, a 75-inch for every customer. Samsung started the year off with two 82-inch models, but that just wasn't enough, and our customers demanded we produce yet another model. So a third higher-end 82-inch had come online. And then as the year has been trailing off, we also launched an 85-inch this year.
So I'm off the curve, you're saying.
You're on the smaller side right now. If you want a more immersive, bigger experience, we definitely have the products for you.
I am ashamed, and my neighbors have better TVs than I do.
But, you know, the numbers that we're seeing on the sales side do indicate 65, 75 are the new sweet spot. Lots of interest in 82. So, you know, the customers are asking for bigger and bigger screens.
So when you get a screen that big, I mean, you have to start talking about 8K, right?
Yeah, so Samsung did launch 8K into the market this year. With
first major television manufacturer to do so.
First major television manufacturer to do so at 85-inch. And, you know, a lot of people do ask, why now? Is this the correct time for it? And, you know,
legitimate question.
It's absolutely a legitimate question. We're seeing now a ton of 4K in the ecosystem from many of the streaming partners, some sports in 4K. And now here's Samsung moving on to 8K. And there is a reason for it. There is a relationship between the resolution and the size of the screen. So, you know, back 15 years ago when we were all watching tube TVs and 32 and 36 were big, everything was fine. The resolution story started when we moved up to flat panel 43, 50-inch and bigger. We needed to move to high definition. And when we moved to high definition, all anyone can talk about was the clarity. Because as you blow the picture up, you need more information on the screen. When we moved from 55 up to 65, 75, we moved into UHD, ultra high definition, otherwise known as 4K. And people talked about seeing the detail. And now we're moving up into 82 and bigger. And the bigger the screen, the more information you need to put there. And 8K is talking about resolution, the number of pixels. We're moving up to 33 million pixels so that at the large size, you can still see the same clarity that you enjoy on your 55-inch. So the resolution is related to going bigger. The bigger you go, the higher the resolution. And there's another interesting fact here, which is the customers that are all going bigger and bigger are not moving their couches further and further back. They're not knocking down living room walls and doing renovations on their house to fit their 82-inch TVs, which means they're sitting closer and closer to the bigger pixels. So by upping the pixel number, Samsung's going to be able to deliver a TV that you don't just see the details, but you see the details in the details on these big screens and really make it one step closer to a window to the outside world.
So do you, here's the thing, it feels like the 4K ecosystem is finally being established. Like you said, the content is finally there, not just from the streaming providers, but other sources as well. If you buy one of those 8K TVs, do you need to sit around and hunt down the one or two videos of butterflies flapping their wings that we can find in 8K these days?
That's a great question.
Is 4K going to be good enough on an 8K set?
So first, it's what comes first, the chicken or the egg. So if there's no panels or 8K TVs out in the world, movie makers and TV makers won't make the content for them. So someone's got to take that first step. We do see YouTube has some 8K content. We know some films, blockbuster films, videos were filmed in 8K, but for the ecosystem that currently does exist, Samsung is offering something called AI upscaling. So we're using artificial intelligence to help upscale 4K or even 1080p content so it looks just as pristine as an 8K source would on our TV. So, now that we have a computer, a master computer coming up with all these new algorithms looking at low resolution, high resolution images and figuring out the best way to do it, I think now if you're going big screen is the absolute right time to get into 8K because you're really going to appreciate the advantages of all the resolutions that are currently available. And as 8K stuff starts coming down the pipe, you'll be able to really enjoy it. And I know there's also talk of the next Olympics coming out, being filmed and recorded in 8K. And if you really want to see the details in the details, 8K is what you're going to need.
Especially on an 88-inch television.
Right, 82, 88, 85. So, we're talking these bigger TVs, 75-inch and up, which are, we consider super big, but which is becoming the super norm.
Let me switch topics for a second, if I could.
Sure.
Such a breadth of products that Samsung makes, of course. Soundbars are an interesting topic here. Samsung soundbars for a long time weren't necessarily the best in the market, but we have become really big fans of some of the newest generation, the Dolby Atmos powered soundbars. What's been going on behind the scenes? What did it take to take a product line that was okay, reasonable, and make it something great?
So there were a few steps that needed to be taken. First, Samsung invested heavily in an audio lab in California. So we now have an audio lab with engineers right here in the American market really building a product that's made for the American home, which does ship worldwide, but we're really working out of that lab. Second, we also recently acquired Harman International, which brought us closer to a lot of high-end engineers from the Harman Group, which consists of many high-end brands. So with them tinkering and tweaking the sound bars, the sound has gotten significantly better. And that's, there's some real science stuff going on there with new materials for woofers, new crossovers, new everything. And then the help of having Dolby Atmos, an actual new codec that gives us, object-based location so you can have this overhead sound. So between the lab, the new engineers, new materials being used, and then this new Dolby Atmos codec that we get to work with, we've really lit up the soundbar market. In addition to our Dolby Atmos soundbars, we're also using some other height channel array technology in our speakers to really fill the whole room. So Samsung has got great success due to all of these things working together, and to make sure that our consumers get it, Samsung has offered an everyday bundle where if you do purchase one of our TVs, you can get up to $200 off of one of these Atmos soundbars, really allowing a lot of our customers to take advantage and bring it to the home.
So this holiday, when you buy me that new TV, it's on Samsung.com, I'm going to get the new soundbar too.
That's right. No, and there's a lot of customers.
You heard it. He said, I'm getting it.
So we'll make sure marketing takes care of that for you. But, we have a lot of customers that, sound really is 50% of the experience. There's times where, I travel a lot, I'm on the plane and I see an adventure action movie and I'm like, I'm not going to watch it here on the plane. I need to get it in home theater. Not just do I want explosions on a 80+ inch screen, but I also want the sound to be all around me. So I don't want to sacrifice just to watch the movie just to see it. I want to experience it, and Samsung soundbar with Samsung big screen TV is really what brings you right into the action.
Scott, we're almost out of time here. I've got to ask you one quick question. CES is just around the corner.
Yeah.
My favorite time of the year, and also the worst time of the year. Like, it's just so much to cover and so much to see. If there's one thing we should see from Samsung, is there like some big thing? Well, you probably can't even tease us about it, but is there something you can talk about?
Well, I can tell you that we have a 25,000 square foot booth in the center of it all. And at that booth, we're going to be showing off a lot of exciting things, from some of our emerging technologies to some of the existing technologies and the evolution of those technologies. Samsung is a powerhouse in electronics. We move everything from mobile to wearables to TVs. And we're getting our hands involved in lots of other exciting things that will be shown at CES. So, I don't think there's one single product I would single out to say this is what you should be excited about. I think you should come be excited about the whole experience that Samsung offers at our booth.
You heard it here first, 16K. He just said it.
8K. Coming to your home.
Scott, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. It was,
Greg, I'm going to throw it back to you, back over in Portland.
Thanks,
Tell us
Jeremy.
what else is going on today.
All right, thanks, Jeremy. Thanks, Scott. Thank you guys for letting us know all about that. So CES is going to be great. Also, Jeremy, I don't know if you can still hear me, but your shirt looks fantastic. So again, this is Digital Trends Live. We are live here every weekday, bringing you tech headlines, bringing you news, bringing you all the updates on everything you need to know, in addition to, of course, having digitaltrends.com, where you can go all day long. So over this last week, we've had a lot of different guests, a lot of different people have stopped by. You can check out the recaps, you can check out the replays, all of that at digitaltrends.com and on our YouTube channels. And we are live all of next week as well. So we're going to be here talking to a bunch of different guests. We've got a cooking segment next week. We're going to be talking about cars. We've got a couple of different DT auto editors hopping on the show, and we'll be doing it all broadcasting live on YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, and Twitch. It is Friday. I want to say again, thank you for tuning in. Hit subscribe, whatever channel, whatever platform you're watching on, hit subscribe, so that way you make sure that you know every time we go live. And coming up in just a little bit on today's Digital Trends Live platform at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, we'll be live with Between the Streams. We'll bring you up to date on everything that's going on in the world of streaming television, what shows you should watch, maybe some you shouldn't, what happened this week in entertainment. We'll bring you up to date on that. That's at noon right here at the same place where you're watching right now. So I think that's it for this show, though. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. My name's Greg. Have a great weekend, and we will see you next week with more Digital Trends Live.